Hey, everybody, thank you for clicking on. Sorry, we've had some technical difficulties, and at the last minute, I had to switch over to StreamYard from my Restream studio. Um, so, welcome. Thank you for clicking on a busy Friday night. A lot of things going on, and we'll be talking about them coming up. Chris is going to be joining us here in just a few minutes. And in the meantime, I want to jump to couple of news stories here. Oh, okay, I didn't want Gene talking necessarily until about right here, I
Flex
believe.
on how much we raise in revenue.
Uh, that's he's still talking fundraising. How about we get to the poll
If
shift?
anything, we are pushing harder and further forward. All we ask is that you continue to support us. It's very important because, this is our big day of the month.
Okay, so I'm hoping he's gonna.
Russia,
There we go. All right,
but
back him up just a couple of minutes or seconds.
for us, So the link is down there in the description. And yes, of course, getting back to the magnetic North Pole,
Yes.
It's still pushing forward westerly. We know where it's going. It's heading central Russia. But what happens from here to then is anyone's best guess.
Okay. This is the 40-degree mark for those that remember Gene from Mapstar Observatory. He said once it hit the 40-degree mark, according to his theory, the magnetic poles were going to rapidly shift. Fortunately, that did not happen. However, the poles do continue to move, and he continues to track the northern magnetic pole, as we will. And the southern magnetic pole is moving too. And as Gene said there, what happens next, we just don't know. Okay, we're going to be talking about the border tonight, of course, and the convoy and a number of other things. And I just wanted to, I've been talking on here before about how the cartel may not be what you think. These are not special forces. These are members of the CJNG cartel in Mexico. And let me close this out. Show you some of the other images here of the military grade weapons that the cartels in Mexico do have, and the preparation they have been going through. Again, it's not, it's not like you may think, and we point all this out simply because of the situation at the border. And Eagle Pass, Texas, as you know, if you've been watching this, we've been showing you, and I've been monitoring. Nothing is going on there. Nobody is coming across there. However, that is still the focal point. Dr. Phil flew in there today. Um, Yesterday it was Ted Nugent and Sarah Palin. I can see Russia from my house, and these these people are there to promote Ted Nugent, to promote Sarah Palin, to promote Dr. Phil. All right. Um, Lori Arnold is actually there. Well, not right this second, but Lori Arnold was actually Lori was actually in Eagle Pass, Texas earlier. Eagle Pass, Shelby Park, and she was on for an hour and 12 minutes. Caught a double rainbow. Of course, the unicorn would catch a double rainbow while she was down there. And if she does go live, um, we'll pop over and see what she's up to. Um, they, like I said, her and Echo were at Eagle Pass, and they have moved up to the Children's Ranch. I think it's Cross Creek Children's Ranch, where the Convoy is supposedly coming, and they weren't there the last I checked. But I've been, like I said, I've been dealing with some stuff here, technical wise, and a couple of other things in the news before we get to the border and to the convoy. Um, Federal judge has postponed the trial in Trump's D.C. election interference case. So, and there has not been a reschedule. There is just a postponement. So, this trial will not take place before the elections. And take that how you will. Um, what happened here? Okay. I had a reset. Pardon me. Hang in with me for just a second here. Now, that being said, Trump's case will not be heard before the elections. However, Jack Smith prosecutors used new filing to fight back against Trump's claims in Mar-a-Lago documents case. The election interference case will not. However, the cases in Georgia, the state case in Georgia, the Mar-a-Lago documents case, hiding and keeping classified documents, and the what was the RICO cases in Atlanta, the documents case. There's too many to keep track of. The other one would be the January 6th case, I guess, is what's left in Washington, D.C. And of course, all of this will be hinging on what the Supreme Court decides to do. So, with all that being said, let's click over here to the bookmarks and see if Chris is here. Chris is here. Let's get him up here. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Hey, Barry. How are you this evening?
Good, good. Hey, we hear you really good, loud and clear.
Good.
As I said, Lori is at the Cross Creek Ranch, Children's Ranch, about 30 minutes from Eagle Creek. As far as I know, the convoy has not gotten there. So there are a lot of people watching all of that stuff. And we will probably, get a lot more viewers at their convenience than we will live, because there's a lot of stuff drawing views tonight. Just, in case the chat's not busy and we down there with Lori Arnold helping to shed the light in a dark world. So let's start off with what's going on over in the Middle East, if that's okay with you.
That's fine.
All right. The Iraqi armed forces have condemned the U.S.-led airstrikes tonight against the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and the Iranian-backed groups in Iraq and Syria, stating that it was a, quote, violation of Iraqi sovereignty, end quote, and a threat that will drag Iraq and the region into a deeper conflict with unintended consequences. And this was said 2 hours ago. I think we would kind of expect that to happen. Iraq not being pleased that there are attacks in their areas, even though it's considered U.S. soil where the bases are, correct?
Well, yeah, but it's still when you go into another individual's country, you know what I'm saying, and conduct strikes, you also have to have that country's permission to do that. You see, and I'm not, I'm hoping the United States government got permission to conduct those strikes on those militant groups, because if not, that country like Iraq could easily things can flip very quickly. 1 minute they're on your side, and then you do something like this, and now they're totally against you. You see, so I'm hoping that the Iraqi government at first obviously gave them permission to conduct those strikes in Iraq, to get rid of those militant groups, but just because they gave them permission doesn't mean that they won't turn against the United States. Remember what I told you about how the Arabs will band together against other groups?
Right.
We talked about we talked about that. So, even though these are Sunni groups, I'm thinking, the groups that were actually attacked by the United States. Of course, those are Shia militant groups, but the whole Iraqi thing, I'm not too sure if they're Shia or Sunni now. But whatever it is, they can easily flip sides, you see, and easily align themselves with the Iranians. So
would you be
that's
surprised?
what you have to be concerned about.
Would you be surprised if our government dropped the ball and did not inform, forgot to inform, or overlooked informing Iraq before conducting the strikes?
No, listen. There's certain protocols that you have to do before conducting strikes on foreign soil, and of course, talking to their government is one of those things that is needed to be done.
It sounds like from this that Iraq wasn't aware it was going to be happening. It sounds like they're pretty pissed off.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I really hope our government just didn't do strikes in that country without giving notification or getting approval from the Iraqi government. You see what I'm saying? Because if they didn't get permission, that's just going to cause a bigger quagmire. It really is. And then you have to worry about those Iraqi forces turning against those forces there on their air bases in Iraq. Even the consulate or the embassy, they're in Iraq. You see, they can.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing: the Iraqi government can say, you know what, United States government and we want you out. We don't want you here. You have to leave. You see, they can put them out of the country.
And we have to stay. Okay, 2 points. We have to stay inside Iraq because of the oil fields. And number 2, we don't notify Syria when we're going to attack there because we're in a kind of a de facto war with Syria already, with Syria and Russia on one side and basically us on another side and rebels on a third side. Is that a pretty good brief definition of Syria?
That's very accurate. Very accurate. So, but with Iraq, yeah, they can say, we want you out of the country. And if Iran pressures them enough, they just might do it. You see? So
yeah.
But the biggest thing is the oil fields. They always talk about how they don't want ISIS to control the oil fields because that oil generates a lot of power, it's a lot of wealth. It's the economics behind it. You see? So we don't want to give the economics up when we're dealing with the oil fields in Syria and Iraq. That's the last thing we want to do is give that up because that's a lot of money. And plus, we use that oil for ourselves too. So why would we want to leave out of those countries?
Right, and despite the tensions, beside the perceived conflicts, beside putting all that aside, the established governments in the Middle East would rather have us there monitoring the oil than have ISIS in control of it, because ISIS would overthrow
Oh,
all of
all
them.
day, all day, all day.
Okay.
But see, it's it's one of those. One day I love you, the next day I hate you. You see?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is one of those situations which I'm kind of like seeing. Obviously, obviously the Iraqi government's pissed off, and the United States is like, well, we had to retaliate against them, but what we don't know, and I heard someone talk about this earlier, is the damage assessment.
Yeah.
We don't know what we hit. It's night, so we have to wait for daylight to occur in those countries to find out, the damage assessment. So we don't know if any civilians were killed or anything like that. So we have to be aware.
Okay, I've got some stuff. We struck 85 separate locations in Syria and Iraq, and the Jordanian Air Force, using F-16s also participated in the strike, and multiple casualties. There's video evidence of one ammunition dump being hit, and the ammo getting cooked off in the subsequent explosion and fire. So I'm assuming civilians are probably going to get hit from that incident. That's the latest I've got. So now, Chris, do the Iranian militants respond to this, or does Iran do something to escalate this, or what do you see coming from where we're at now?
Right. So since the United States, if they're only targeting like ammunition dumps, depots, and I don't know what targets they're hitting. You see what I'm saying? So if they're just doing like little stuff, now I really don't think like the like IRGC would even come back, to attack. They're probably laughing at them, like is that all you're gonna do? Because if it is, there's really no sense of us even like coming back at them. But at the same time, they could be like, okay, well, since that's all you're gonna do, then we'll really wreck your shit. You see? That's kind of like what I'm saying.
Okay, the official word is at 4 p.m. on February 2nd. 4 p.m. also is when the stock market closed. So this would, no matter how this went, it would not impact the money, because it's always about the money. 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, U.S. Central Command forces conducted airstrikes in Iraq and Syria against Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the Quds Force, and affiliated militia groups. U.S. military forces struck more than 85 targets with numerous aircraft, to include long-range bombers flown from the United States. The airstrikes employed more than 125 precision munitions. Facilities that were struck included command and control operations, intelligence centers, rockets and missiles, and unmanned aerial vehicle storages, logistics, munitions, supply chain facilities of militia groups, and the IRG sponsors who facilitated attacks against U.S. and coalition forces.
Okay. Well, like I said, I would have to see the damage assessment, right? To see, because that's what they're reporting. What's reported isn't exactly what's on the ground until you actually see the stuff. You see.
Right, and so this is the formal report from Sitcom.
Right.
Okay.
What?
So 85 targets, 125 precision munitions. They were using, according to another thing I've got, they were using the B-1B bombers. So Is this a beginning of extended attacks, or is this we're going to show you, and if you keep, eventually you're going to FAFO, as they say.
Well, I think they're just going to do limited strikes on those targets in Syria and Iraq. Like I said, they're not going to strike Iran at all. They won't do that. We've discussed this before, and I told you Iran is. Don't forget, Iran is really strong allies with Russia. Okay, so it's not just Iran that you're striking; it would also be like Russia as well. You see, so
okay. So if we, yeah, we've got
those are just considerations.
Yeah, now we have to we have to consider when we do military actions, we have to consider BRICS. We have to consider Brazil,
right.
Russia.
Exactly.
Not just
so it's Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, right? It's not. Don't think these, right. And so it's not just we're doing strikes against Iran. These other countries like Iran is partners with Russia.
Mm-hmm.
So don't think for 1 minute if we strike Iran that Russia is going to sit there and not do anything. Yeah, they will. Okay. So Russia Iran is not going at this all by themselves. They're just not.
Yeah.
So we have to be. I think that's one of the reasons Biden's being so careful about this. You see.
Okay.
Because it's not just Iran by themselves.
Well, we'll keep monitoring what's going on overseas, but let's switch back over to the home country here. New York Times, or New York Post rather, says a mockery of justice. And I'm just want to play a couple of seconds here because very rarely do you get Al Sharpton.
Let's bring in NYPD's Chief of Patrol, John.
Al Sharpton and the Chief of Police anywhere agreeing on.
Shell also with us for the conversation, president of the National Action Network and host of MSNBC's Politics Nation, Reverend Al Sharpton. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, everybody.
Chief, let's start with you. Just first, your reaction when you saw the video of your officers being beaten right in the middle of Times Square.
Disgusted, angry. As a citizen who lives here, I'm saying to myself, what happened? As a cop, I wish I could be there to help them. And as a chief patrol, how did we get here? And why did this happen? We're up to 14 people versus 2. 14 versus 2. As you mentioned, 7 arrested. 1 finally got bail. But the 4 that got arrested that day, after our cops got up and still did their job and made some radio transmissions, they were in front of a judge, and we just don't understand why bail wasn't requested. But that doesn't mitigate that the judge could have looked at the circumstances. I don't know if she saw the video. We don't know yet. But she had the opportunity to step in and say, well, hold on a second.
Wait. But she knew that cops had been beaten up by these guys,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
She knew that, and she still didn't hold them?
Apparently not. And now let me take it to the next level. They walk out the door. They're on a bus somewhere in America going somewhere right now.
Yeah.
And they had insult to injury to all of us. And we're very benevolent people in New York City. To give us literally the finger on the way out the door.
Literally.
This is a host of issues we got to talk about. And it stops right here.
So, Chief, do we know, was bail requested and then the judge declined that? Or do we know how that played out?
For the 4 that arrested that day, bail was not requested. But the judge had an opportunity to obviously override that.
Right.
Say, no, I'm going to remand you, and we'll take it from there. Was the video played in court? We don't know that answer. But it shouldn't matter. When 4 attack 2, and with the difference between good and evil here, that's not acceptable.
And Rev, we talked about this yesterday. This is a confluence of a lot of really bad events. You've got, and the mayor has said, we've got a problem with illegal immigrants. You can't keep sending illegal immigrants our way. We got to take care of the problem at the border, which, of course, right now, House Republicans don't want to pass that bill to do it. And then you've got, you've got so-called bail reform that allows people to beat the hell out of cops and then walk and then flee. We've got to circle back and city council's got to step up. The governor's got to step up. A lot of people that have passed a lot of bad laws need to step up and fix the situation.
You have, as the chief said, a confluence of issues here. You have the immigration issue, you have the border issue, you have the issue of bail reform, which I say could be bail deform when people take advantage. But when you get down
and by the way, you talked about this yesterday, violence. When you're talking about violent acts,
exactly.
and let me just add on top of that, violence against cops, against people who are supposed to protect New Yorkers. At that point, come on, you're right. That's not reform.
And as he can tell you, many of us fought to get more blacks and Latinos on the force. So, I mean, are we telling kids now, be a cop, but you can get your behind beat, and we're going to call it reform? No, reform is those that should be incarcerated or shouldn't be held because of financial reasons. But all the way from...
Okay, Chris, as a former police officer in a metropolitan area, this is kind of right. You know, this is kind of like right in your alley, if you will. What do you think?
All right. So first and foremost,
and have you talked to any friends on the force?
I talked to a couple friends about it, and I'm like, you know, did you see this? And what'd you think? And you know, we all pretty much were like, you know, they were arrested. We don't know how they got bail, you know, or they weren't even given bail. So the thing is, you know, okay, they weren't given bail. Everyone's talking about them fleeing or you know, leaving New York. Well, there's no bail. You can pretty much do what you want, go where you want. You see, the bottom line is you just don't miss court. You see, so if you miss court, then there's just going to be a warrant issue for your arrest. But the point that we're making is this: if they did that now, and there's there's obviously no repercussions, no nothing, that would lead other people to do other things. Okay, so that was just a beating, right? People can escalate that, and next thing you know, you have shootings, and you have these migrants shooting at the police. You see, guns are easy to get on the street. Okay, so you get a gun. Say, for instance, you got an incident like that, but next time those guys come out and start shooting their guns and start shooting cops, right? So you know, my friends and myself were like, you know what, this just needs to stop. And I was basically saying, you know what? So this stuff doesn't happen anymore. Just start rounding them up, round them all up, all the guys that are military age males, round them up, put them somewhere, right, and then stick them on a plane and send them right back to where they came from. That way you don't have any. That way you don't have any more problems. But furthermore, it's going to send a message to the rest of the migrants that, hey, look, we're not going to put up with this stuff. And the other thing is, you know what? They don't do that stuff in their own country. You see?
Yeah,
we don't do that stuff in your own country. And you know why?
Keep going.
Yeah, so they would never do something like that in their own country. Do you know why? Here's the reason why. The police in their country would beat the living daylights out of them. They're on the street, but then once I got back to the district, they would get beaten even more. You see, but see, they like here in the United States, they know that the officers can't do that. You see, so that's the reason why they do what they do. If those cops were allowed to beat them like they get beat back in their own country, and guess what? A lot of stuff would stop. It really would. But that's the reason why a lot of these migrants come to the United States and they commit these crimes. Well, listen, when I'm in Nigeria and a lot of these people commit crimes, like say for instance, somebody is caught with a gun or something like that. A lot of times these people get killed right there, like where they get caught with a gun, like on the side of the road or something. The cops just kill them right there on the spot. You go down to Colombia and the police, you know, shoot, you know, people, the bad guys with guns like I mean, they just like seriously like kill these people outright. In Brazil, same thing, you know. But here, you know, we give people chances and all this other stuff, and I'm just like, you need to operate like the country that they're in. That and I see I've seen all this stuff all over the world. So I can sit there and talk about, look, this is what needs to be done because this is what's effective. You can't listen. You let these people come to their country, and they know our laws aren't like the same as theirs. That's why they do the stuff that they do and continue to do it. They would never do that stuff in their country because they would get beaten or they're going to get killed. One of two things. And I've seen
and
it.
It's a tremendous lack of respect. It's a tremendous lack of respect.
Back in their country. Right, but see, back in their countries, they're very respectful. Oh, they're very respectful. They come here, they show out all the time. It never fails. It never fails.
All right. Okay, there's the B1. I mentioned the B1B earlier. French police are standing in solidarity with protesters in France. The shelves are empty in a lot of Western European cities because of these farmers' protests. And again, I've mentioned it several times on here. We don't hear anything about it here in the United States. I said the other night it could be because we've lost a whole lot of family farms because of the corporations, if you will, the corporate farms. And then I showed that the two biggest owners of farmland in the United States are Bill Gates and China. Things aren't the same here in the United States as they are in Western Europe. We touched on this the other night. I wanted to get your opinion yet again. Are we witnessing a worldwide uprising of average people that are just getting awakened to the fact that there are people that really want to get rid of 87% of us?
I think so, and we talked about this the other night. But did you see what's going on in Germany with the migrant thing?
No.
All right. Well, I think the police were shooting at migrants, you know, with rubber bullets, stuff like that, and
Yeah.
this whole migrant thing, you know, in the United States and in Europe, like, I really believe that it was created by design. You see, are you familiar with the migrant problem in Europe? Like, I don't know if you're familiar with that or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right,
yeah.
So Europe is kind of facing the same thing, and they've been facing it for some time. Okay, the migrants are, well, you know, going to Europe and they're committing all sorts of crimes. You see, they were like really out of control, and you know, they're not. I don't know if they're not reporting it or underreporting what the migrants are doing in the United States. Okay, because just because, you know, whatever you did in your country, those same tendencies you're gonna bring to the United States. You see, so there's a lot of migrants that are criminals that are coming here to the United States, just like there are a lot of migrants that you know go to Europe that were criminals in their former countries. So, what do you think? You just stop doing what you did there in your country? No, you continue it, you know, in the new country that you're in. You see? So the way I feel is the best bet is to, like I said, just get rid of all these migrants, send them back to their countries, and let their countries deal with them. That's going
to be easy. much easier said than done. And
Yeah,
but at the same time, I get where you're coming from. And the idea of a secure border is not a fascist idea, in my opinion. It is a rational idea. We need to have secure borders.
it's a common sense approach. It's not Republican or Democratic. Or Democrat. It's just a common sense approach. Period.
It should be anyway.
That's it.
And while we're at it, people like this should not be anywhere near an effort to try to secure the border. This is not Burt Reynolds' Convoy. Okay, this guy almost gets head on, and we see not every trucker does this, but we see truckers that have that are live streaming as they're driving. They're interacting with their chats. They are not 100% focused on the road. We've seen non-semi truck drivers do the same thing. Had the semi driver right here, had he not been, paying attention to what was going on, and had he not locked his brakes up on time, this could have been incredibly horrendous. We could have witnessed the death of several people. Chris, the guy that's driving the vehicle that we're seeing the live stream, he is one of the heads of security of this convoy.
Well, I don't know why. I don't know why he crossed the double yellow line. That's just plain stupid. Okay, listen. He's coming around the corner. He ran around the corner a couple times, and coming down the wrong way. I mean, you're just asking for trouble. You're gonna get yourself hurt and get other people hurt too. So I don't know why these people do this stupid stuff. I really don't. I really don't.
He also goes by Master Grifter, and then got upset when being accused of being a grifter. You can't make this stuff up, Chris. You really can't. All right. A little more serious here. That was incredibly serious. The guy almost killed himself and other people potentially. So it was incredibly serious. But the other day, I mentioned that I had listened to a 16-minute recording by Joseph Trimmer with the Eagle County Sheriff's Department, and that recording had been censored and removed. There is a 27-second recording, and I want to play that for the audience right now.
And it's clearly something that's not going to be a good thing.
We're going to have all the federal agencies already involved here with us.
Thank God for that.
We have meetings already, and everybody's watching, everybody's tracking. To be honest with you, so you'll know that. And we'll see what Saturday turns out to be. But one thing I understand, that Friday is supposed to be a day in Austin.
Yeah. If you actually see the website, all of the locations are listed.
Okay, just so everybody knows, basically that is the chief of police of the city of Eagle Pass, Texas, where all of this is supposedly about to go down. Let me see if Lori Arnold happens to be live. And if she is, we'll check in and see if, okay. She was live ended 14 minutes ago. So we'll keep an eye on that to see if she comes back. But in the meantime, I want to show you a little bit of what they were seeing. Let me get us over there, and again, basically, pretty much what we have seen from other sources.
Trying to see better. I like this mural over there. That's kind of cool. But anyway. All right. I'm not a professional, guys. I'm just me. Look how beautiful the sky is here. Damn.
She gets distracted by the beauty of the sky and not reporting on the amazingly violent conflict that is going on in Eagle Pass, Texas, which has been blown up by the media and is non-existent. Chris, how many people you think in the country think that there's a massive conflict between the Border Patrol and the Texas National Guard, and that somebody's got to go down there and do something about it, and is not watching things like we watch, where we get the real information?
Right, it's a very small, like the people that actually know what's going on, as opposed to people that don't know what's going on. Percentage wise, I'd say maybe like 3% of the people know what's going on, and 97% of the people don't know what's going on. Now, the other 97% are always, they're the mainstream type. Those are the sheep, okay? And they don't want to know what's going on. They're happy being, in their own little world, their own little bubbles. Just don't disturb that bubble, because that's the reality. You see? So we're with me, I kind of like to know what the heck is going on, so that way I know how to mitigate or even prepare myself for something that's going to affect me, and also affect maybe family members. You see?
Right. And that's what we try to do here.
Right. So that's the way we look at it. But then you have other people that are like, oh, I don't want to know. I don't want to know the truth. I'm just like, you don't want to know the truth. You don't know what's going on. Like, you don't want to, like, there's a problem here. Okay. You don't want to know what the problem is. Like, that's like, to me, that is just, that's like crazy. Okay. That's crazy. Like, to me, if I see a train coming, do you think I'm gonna stay on the tracks? No, I'm getting far away. I'm getting off the tracks. These people are standing dead square on the tracks. You tell them there's a train coming. Oh no, there's not. Meanwhile, the whistle was blowing, and you could hear the train, and they just like, oh, that train's not coming. It's not gonna come this way. Yeah, the train is right on the tracks, coming directly for you. You need to get off. And that's what the majority of society is really like. They don't want to know. They'll get hit by something, and what happened? Well, how come we weren't told about this?
All right. Speaking of which, what happened? How come we weren't told about this? The federal government has said, don't come to Eagle Pass, don't come to the border. The state government has said, don't come to Eagle Pass, don't come to the border. Sheriffs in county governments have said, don't come to Eagle Pass, don't come to the border. I've said it. We heard this guy, Bonehead Truckers, who was part of it for just a brief amount of time, long enough to get his eyes open. All these people are saying don't come. And yet there are those that are dead set on coming down there. As a counterterrorism expert, how do you analyze that?
All right. So if you keep going after you've been warned, then I think you're probably up to something. Because once law enforcement tells you, I mean, you have different law enforcement entities telling you, hey, don't come down here. There's no reason for you to come down here. But you still want to go, then what's your justification for coming? What's your justification for going? Are you trying to incite something because everyone just told you not to come? You see, and this
Right.
is, and these are law enforcement entities telling you not to come down there. You just want to go anyway. So, what's your motive then? Okay, you have to take a look at what their motive is, and you know. But you know they're never going to tell you we're here to help protect the border. Well, we don't need your help. So why would you come back down there after we told you not to? And we don't need your help. So what are you planning on doing? And that's
all right.
That's, I'm kind of looking at it.
Look at it from the point of view as a uniformed member of the service, whatever branches we're talking here, just in general. Let's say a Texas National Guard guy that is on one side of the fence, and you got a bunch of jacked up white, a lot of them older than 60, wanting to tell you how to do your job. The National Guard person is going to be overwhelmingly non-confrontational and de-escalational until it gets to the point where it's like, you know, because these people push and push and push and push and push because they've got a whole lot of privilege, and they've got a whole lot of expectation, but they lack respect and self-awareness a lot of times.
Right.
So that's the only way I see some kind of conflict happening down there, is either they go to a center where the migrants are being held and start some kind of violence there, or they just get to the point where, you know, screw this, we're tearing this fence down, we're coming across the border and forcing either state or federal action. I don't see any other reason for them.
So let's all right. So let's go back to your original with the Texas National Guard. So Texas National Guard. You also have DSP down there, Department of Public Safety. So that would be like the state police or whatever, and they'd be called in too, you know, to assist the Texas National Guard. And I'm pretty sure they would start making arrests of these individuals, you know, to get rid of them, you know. But you don't get me wrong, you know, it can escalate. Okay, you know, from hey, you know, get off of him, and he's a good person, to them fighting to gunshots. You see, that's one way. But then the other way too is you said, you know, they try to attack the migrants, and you know, DSP and like Border Patrol. Well, Border Patrol has to protect those people. Okay, if you see, you know, you keep attacking Border Patrol, then who knows? You know, that might end up in engagement. You see?
Yeah.
But then also you see them tearing down the razor wire and all this stuff and going to Mexico. Well, that right there. If the cartel's on the other side and those idiots even attempted to cross into Mexico, cartel would eat their asses up. Like the cartels don't play. Okay, and they are armed to the teeth. Okay, and they will use those firearms, and they're a hell of a lot more trained than the guys coming across the border. Okay, like these drug cartels do not play around. Okay, so those are the three that you brought up, and the last one I really don't think is going to happen. You know, if they go into Mexico, I really don't think they even think about stepping foot in Mexico. But the other two with the Border Patrol, protecting the migrants, you know, heck, they might even attack the Border Patrol and try to snatch the migrants off the buses or even shoot them. That's a very real possibility. Okay.
I was
Now you
looking
got
for something, and go ahead.
now you have the Border Patrol. It has to protect those migrants, and you start shooting those migrants, then Border Patrol might start shooting back at those the people in the convoy. The guys are coming over, and then you got something bigger jumps off. You see, which
Yeah.
maybe they were trying to instigate anyway. Who knows?
Somebody wanted to happen anyway.
Right. And then like I said, the first one with the Texas National Guard, of course, DSP would be called in, and those individuals would probably be locked up. So, I don't think I don't think they want that, but who knows? Maybe they do.
Well, I'm looking for something and I can't find it. I'm looking for it on Twitter. I thought I bookmarked it, but evidently I hadn't. The people that are responsible for this Cross Creek Children's Home, that or Children's Ranch, that the where the convoy and its members are going to stay overnight before allegedly going into Eagle Pass tomorrow. He put out a video, or somebody put out a video of him addressing everyone, saying, he's not wearing his firearms. He doesn't want anybody wearing their firearms while they're there at the ranch, blah, blah, blah. And then he says, we haven't gotten together this is the first time we've gotten together since January 6th. He references that this is at least, the majority of these members were at J6 or part of J6. Is that an additional concern?
All right, so that sounds like that's going to be a staging area for what they're planning to do. That's how I would take it.
Okay.
That would be a state for me. If I had all those people there, I can discuss what exactly we're going to do and how we're going to execute. I can plan and execute what we're going to do right there. You see?
Yeah.
So,
all right. All right. We'll take. We need to take it seriously then, which is what we will do. Again, let me one last time bump over to Lori Arnold's channel to make sure she is not. She's not live. All right. So, if you want to see what's going on, Lori Arnold, LORIARNOLD on YouTube. Her channel will be up tomorrow. I'll be monitoring several different channels tomorrow, and will probably be on at some point. Just showing what's going on down there. I don't know what time that will be, so please hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell. Of course, hit the like if you would while you're at it, and if you share the information about this channel that we just we try to reach the 3%, and that 3% isn't in wealth. That 3% is in opening your eyes and thus expanding your mind, being a critical thinker and not being a sheep. And Chris helps each and every time, and I'm so very grateful. Thank you, man.
Well, thank you for having me on your show, Barry. It's, like I said, man, I love being on this show. I love giving people information, things that they probably haven't thought about before. So, like I said, your show is great, and hopefully, more people start to listen. But thank you for having me on your show as always.
Always a pleasure. We'll see you Monday night, if not before.
Will do. Okay, I'll talk to you then.
All right, peace out, brother. That's our friend Chris. Again, thank you all for being on. As far as I know, the convoy has not made it to that ranch yet. And let me hop over into the chat and see if I'm wrong. Say hello to the stunning one, stunning cunt, or cunning stunt. Hi, True. Pluck the patriarchy. That's how I took it. Okay. It would be something if the cartel got Joe and Oreo. Thin Blue Line, thank you for being here. Jeff Reynolds, check out Anthony Aguero. Okay, we'll do, buddy. Thank you for being here, by the way, and thank you all for being here. Again, it's a busy night, a lot of options, and I greatly appreciate you spending a little time here with us on this channel. And hopefully you'll come back. We'll be on Monday night at 9 p.m., kind of recapping everything that's happened between now and then. And again, I'll be monitoring tomorrow, and I will be on, even if it's just to let everybody know that, everything's cool down there, which I hope is the situation. I honestly hope that this is not some kind of false flag operation, that there are instigators and agitators and people that are involved. I know there are some bad actors involved. I know that for a fact. I just hope there are not enough that they are able to light a match to a fire that cannot be extinguished. And that's my hope, and I'll leave you with that. Again, thank you for being here. Not going away. Always appreciate everything you do. My mods are great. They're all badasses in their own rights, and I greatly appreciate all of their help. I thank you for watching. I thank you in the chat. And just a reminder that I love you all like chocolate chip cookies, and I sincerely mean that. And we will see you tomorrow at some point, and for sure Monday night at 9 p.m. It's eyes open. We don't tell you what to think or how to think. We just give you things to think about and say, right the frick on for thinking. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time. It's a dark world. Try to be a light.